So a lot of people on Twitter really don't like the chat feature in Cursor. So they don't like this sidebar here. It annoys them. They don't really use it. And a lot of people really enjoy Cmd+K. Cmd+K is basically inline. So it's kind of the same principle of when we talked about Cursor tab, and you can obviously add these comments in here. Cmd+K is just a little bit different. So you can highlight code, you can hit Cmd+K, and then you've now got this inline sort of prompt window. You can still use @ to add things to it if you want to, but you can just say refactor this to look nicer, right? And then it will send it off, and just sort of, rather than it being individual like that, it's now hit Command Enter, and it's basically just reformatted that code to look different. You can do entire files with it. You could set it all up and just do Command-K on the whole file. It's just a really nice way to quickly make changes when you don't want to deal with the chat window and you really only care about what's going on in this file. And that's really Command-K is great for these little inline changes. And we could maybe even just highlight this, format all functions to be easier to read. Okay, and then it'll go off, and then it'll format all these functions to just look a bit better, because this FN thing, I don't fully understand it. I've never used it really myself in PHP. Like I say, despite what some people think, I'm not a developer, and I just am figuring this out as I go along. If it wasn't quite right, you can hit some follow-up instructions before you accept it and just ask it to change things if it doesn't quite get it right. We'll accept that, head back over to here, and we've still got our app. It still works exactly the same way as it did before. So look, I don't like when I'm clicking call mum here, it's not checking the box. Only if you check the box, which is, I'm not very accurate as a clicker. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to select the entire file, toggle the checkbox when the, what is it? Is it a label? I'm just going to put when the to-do text is clicked. Okay, and then send that off. So it whiz through the file, look, line by line, until it finds the bit it needs to change. So it's added an ID to the input here. It's wrapped it. Okay, so we'll go Command Enter. So now it's got a label. Save that, go back, and now we can click by groceries, we can click call mom, we can unclick. So it's just a simple way, like you don't always want to go through a whole chat window for that when you can do it in line. And the other feature that's really interesting to me, especially when you're using something unfamiliar like Vault, and I would definitely use this a lot if I was doing Next.js, because I have no clue about React. It just blows my mind how I can't understand it at all. What you can do is go Command-K, and then you can sort of type in here like a question. What does this actually mean? And sometimes if I'm going to keep it on Sonnet for now, but for these little questions, I tend to switch to GPT-4 Mini. Okay, let's just try it with Mini. And if you click quick question here instead of generate, it will tell you the state and compute functions. Okay, it doesn't really tell me much. So I'm going to switch back to Sonnet and then do, what does this actually mean? Exactly the same again. And then hit quick question. Okay, it doesn't really tell me much more. Okay. But you can go through the code and it will explain different pieces of it if you don't fully understand what's going on. So like what's happening here, for example. What is happening here? It's just a good way to sort of understand code bases that are unfamiliar. Just explain. So it's removing a to-do list item. So array filter only keeps elements when the callback function returns true. It compares each index items index with the target index, and it reindexes the array, ensuring consecutive numeric keys. In short, it filters out to do at the given index and reindexes the array. So you can sort of explain the code as you go along if you're taking on a project from somebody else, or you're trying to use a boilerplate and don't understand what's going on and you don't want to wait for support requests. You can just use this quick question field to pass it to the LLM, which usually Sonnet is obviously better, but you don't want to waste requests if you've got fast requests on this really. So I tend to use either GPT-4 or 4 Mini just to preserve my Sonnet. And that's pretty much it for Command K. Oh, no, it's not. You can also do terminal. So terminal, for example, is, you see down here, you've got Command K. So when you're in the terminal, you hit Command K in the terminal. Now you can give instructions. So you can see that I'm on a to-do branch. So I could just say, switch back to main branch and delete to-do branch. See if it actually gets it, because I didn't give it the full, yeah, it did. I didn't even have to type the full name of the branch. I just typed to do, and it knew that I meant move to do to separate page. Command enter to run it, and it moved me back to main, and it's deleted the old branch. So you can use that. Like sometimes I forget commands for different things. I don't know how to do things with Git at all. So I just ask the terminal what I should do. So, and it will just give me the bash command, or in my case, it's ZSH or ZSH, I don't know. But yeah, so Command K works in the terminal as well, which is pretty powerful. And I use that a lot because I am not a command line guy. I'm not used to it. So it's quite helpful to have that. And once upon a time, for all of this, I would have to go to Claude.ai, type it in, copy and paste it back. And now it's just sped up the workflow so much. It's just a lot easier to use. So that's Command K. People love it. But up next is Composer. And Composer is going to blow your mind if you've never used it before. See you in a bit.